So the reason in particular this case study is really relevant is because it's about an event that you know and love. And I know you love it because you're sitting at it right now. So we're going to take you...
This will be very revealing.
Yes, and Lisa's very generous to share all of this with all of us. Okay, so let's back up. So understanding your customers. In order to serve them at the deepest level, you really have to understand them, right? You got to know what is it that they need, what do they want, what is that big dream they have for themselves that you can help them with? What are the things that they're afraid of? And what's their relationship to you, right? Are they just starting out? Have they ever purchased something from you before? How well do they know you? What do they think of you? Because all of those things impact how well you're going to be able to serve them, or whether, in fact, at all you'll be able to serve them. So you've got to understand your customers. And about a year ago, Lisa contacted me. We were in this mastermind together, right? And we've been talking about research, and I'm like, research, research, research.
And actually, I had this experience where I had done some business or made connections with almost everybody in the group, remember? Right. And for Michelle and I just hadn't had our moment yet. And I kept feeling so pulled and drawn to her, but just there wasn't nothing had connected yet on a business spark. I didn't really see how what she was doing was relating to how what I was doing until lunch came one day.
Yes, and I think it is difficult, right? Because when we started, it's this idea that most entrepreneurs aren't out there doing research in any formal way, and it's simply because it may be a new concept or something that you don't quite know how to do. So Lisa and I connected over lunch, and she had this big event that she was planning, and she had a real goal and a dream for it. But some questions too, because last year was the very first time that you did Big Mission.
It was my first solo event, and it was actually in the room next door, and I invite you all so that you get it, to walk by at some point. It looks so small to me now, but at the time that, when I secured that room and we filled that room, I could, it was such a huge risk, and I didn't know if it would happen, and I was just trusting and trusting and trusting. So yeah, it was just, the event was actually only weeks away when we talked.
Right.
We already...
A couple weeks before, 3 or 4 weeks, 3 weeks.
We had, the room pretty well filled. Yeah, and I was starting to think about what's the mastermind going to be? What's going to be in it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So imagine what a blessing it was for me to have Lisa, give me the opportunity to share with her what my gift is, right? I mean, it was huge, and I felt like that was just such an amazing gift to me to have the chance to share this with you.
Yeah.
So here she is, right? She's got this audience coming, and she's thinking about what's going to happen at the event, how is it all going to interplay, and what is the mastermind going to be like?
Right. I mean, I knew I wanted to work with a dedicated group of people, and I knew I wanted to really structure it so that, I could get my hands in their business at different levels, depending on how much support they wanted, that they would get support from each other. There were things I knew, but I didn't know exactly who was coming. I mean, I hadn't been doing the events on my own. I didn't know who I had attracted. We could kind of tell from the names there was a lot of women, but, I didn't know all about all these different Janes and what their desires were and what they most wanted from me and why they were coming, right? And I didn't even know that I needed to know that. But when I went to start to put together what would the program be, I realized I had a lot of missing information. And this is where Michelle actually stepped in and showed me, we could actually survey the people that are coming. And we could structure it in a way so that you won't have any of that mystery. You'll know exactly who's coming. You'll know exactly what they want. You'll know exactly how to speak it to them. Mm-hmm. And we also ran it through the Jane profile. Mm-hmm. So I found out what kind of Janes were coming, what they most needed, and what they were looking for.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was the goal, right? I really wanted to help Lisa make this as spectacular an event as she could. And here's the wonderful thing about entrepreneurs. You have such great instincts already, right? It is the direct that you talk about, and the asking, what is it that you need? But this is asking in a different way. to really help you gain clarity from a business perspective, that maybe it's just a different and fresh way of looking at it. So we worked together so that I could understand what Lisa's objectives were for the event and what she saw. And then we developed a series of questions that we took out and interviewed everyone who had signed up to attend Big Mission last year.
We did it through a survey. So, Michele showed us what we needed. We provided a survey. It went out, and we got a pretty great response. Do you remember what it was, or do you have the numbers?
I think it was around 100. I don't have the response
Yeah,
rate
I mean, it
with
was
me, but
over half.
Very high.
Over half of the people
very
coming replied. And then we sent it out again. She had techniques that she taught me on how to get a higher response. So she showed me some things to do. We sent it out again. I think we even had maybe a little incentive, an article or something for the people that replied. So then we got our response rate up even higher. And I still didn't really realize what was coming my way as far as information that was going to help me when I put the program together and offered the program. I honestly had no idea what to expect. Yeah.
So at this point, anytime I sit down with one of my corporate clients, I tell them, you now have to take off your shoes, right? And you have to put on someone else's shoes. So what I want you to do here, you ready? Take off your shoes. Get in Lisa's fabulous shoes. And imagine her a year ago envisioning looking out at you. Are you with me? Right? So we're now in Lisa's shoes. And then after we do this research together, I have the opportunity to sit down with Lisa and share with her what it is that we learned that was going to help her with Big Mission. And we knew it was going to be a spectacular event anyway. This is the way, the icing on the cake, to really help gain that clarity of your customers. So before you even walk in the room, you know, this is who I'm serving.